Good morning from the toaster house. Early morning sun glinting off the toasters. Met up with John and Misha, who first met up in Lima, Montana, and then we stayed at the Squirrel Nut Zipper Wolf Den whatever lodge. Kind of been leapfrogging back and forth. We all hung out last night. We're all planning to go to Beaver Head Campground. It's about 98 miles from here. It's another big day. So I've done 78 miles yesterday, 120 the day before. 98 feels like a lot, but if I do that, it's just 70 miles from there to Silver City, and then Silver City to Antelope Wells is maybe one day. Really love the idea of getting all those miles in. If I can't do it, I'll wild camp and do 2 nights out there, obviously extending another day, but I can only do what I can do. It really depends on the terrain. There's only 4,000 feet of climbing, which over 90 miles isn't bad, but if it's all rutted, rocky roads, then doesn't really matter how much climbing there is. So with that, Tour Divide day 45, which honestly shouldn't be a phrase, it's being said. Alright, goodbye Toaster House. It's one of those special places on the map. And off we go. South to Silver City. Slow going this morning. Gone are the asphalt roads. You could cruise down at 16, 18 miles an hour. It's been all rolling hills, a little bit of rutty stuff, and a pretty sizable headwind. I'll keep pushing on. It's going to be a long day. Riding along this road, and saw these tire tracks pulling over the side. Decided to take a look, and we heard rumors about a box next to the side of the road. No, not. Just a rock, no water. Good news is I don't really need it. Whew. Clean, easy roads. Oh, great. Gotta hold on. Easy roads, tending downhill. Beautiful prairie out here today. I'll say again, slow going today. Rough roads. This one's not too bad. But riding through the trees with the shade makes up for it, which is awesome. I think I got another, 5 miles or so until a water resupply at a church. Well, the instructions say there's a church, go knock on the door of the house next door. I don't know what that means, but I'll give that a shot. Hopefully it'll refill everything, so I feel pretty good about the water situation for today. Time for this year's big treat, the pickle in the bag. I'm not much of a pickle guy, but there's a lot of pickle juice in here. On a hot day, works out pretty well. Cheers. after noon. It means I've been riding for 5 hours, so I'm doing a little less than 10 miles an hour because I'm exactly at mile 45, and I believe the campsite's at mile 98. So at this pace, I should be in there by 5 o'clock. Except I'm climbing now into these hills, and that cloud right there just unleashed a monster bolt of lightning right in front of me. So now I'm wondering, do I try to shelter in place or continue on? I don't know. I'll continue on for a bit, but blue sky over there. Looks beautiful. Fortunately, I'm not there. I'm already here and heading that way. I don't really want to stop because I feel like rain coming down, everything turns to mud. When things turn to mud down here, everything stops. It's peanut butter mud. And I feel like every foot I can get further is a chance I'll get to camp tonight. I think this is one of those Rule 5 times. Just keep going. At this point, I'm already getting wet. This is not pretty out here. I'm running along and it's getting a little muddy, but that's coming right in my face and it's getting stronger and stronger. I don't really want to set up shelter, but sometimes you get lucky. In the middle of nowhere, you find a road grader. And that road grader has an open door. So to whoever operates this road grader, thank you. Appreciate it. Not sure I like being the highest thing out here and in a metal structure, not insulated, because we have a giant metal plow on the ground. But it's dry. Alright, that worked well. Spent some nice quality time in there. Maybe not too long, maybe only like 10 minutes or so. Well, the rain's moved off. It's a bright, sunny, puffy cloud day. It's kind of a bummer because I just found this bulldozer and I'd love to go check it out. Well, current status, not going great. I've had a slow leak. Every other day or so I pump it up a bit and we're fine. And this time I realized there's an actual hole in it. So when I got a plug, I plugged it. It's not really holding, but I'm hoping if I start riding it a little bit. Time consuming, which means I get to camp later. Alright, I'm gonna finish pumping this up and we'll see how it rolls. Status update, not good. The plug I put in the tire was not holding. So I actually pulled it out. I put another plug in. That one's definitely in the hole, doing its thing. But what I'm not seeing is any evidence of sealant coming out. For those that aren't familiar with tubeless tire setups, instead of having an inner tube inside the tire, there's nothing. You just have the tire, and then you have a bunch of liquid sealant, latex sealant in there. And if you get a puncture, generally the sealant will seal it. These tires were put on in Pinedale 10, 15 days ago. Put in double the amount of sealant you're supposed to put in. He went way overboard on it because I'd rather have too much sealant and carry a little extra weight. I'm guessing with brand new tires and the cush cores that maybe that did something. Maybe that sucked it all up. It's just weird that in that short of a time, that much sealant would be gone. But I'm not seeing any evidence of it coming out at all. The other thing I can do, I do have an emergency inner tube, which I can crack open that tire and put it in, but I have a foam insert in that tire that protects it from being smashed. It means basically throwing that out into the woods somewhere because I can't really carry a giant slimy thing with me. It means riding unprotected. You know, any little thorn, anything will now be a flat. I'm going to keep pumping this up and playing with it and hoping that that plug seals, because really that's the best answer here. The other reason I'm really kicking myself right now, when Rob left, he bequeathed me a bunch of things, including a canister of tire sealant. And I said, my tires are new. They've got a ton of sealant in them. I don't need to carry that thing. Tossed it. Wish I had that back right now. Boy, howdy. Miraculously, that tire seems to be holding. So I put away all my stuff and I'm going to reassemble it, try to get moving. Plug did not hold at all. I didn't make it 10 feet before it deflated. I'm riding basically on that foam insert inside the tire. Well, I've made it across the mud pits and found the Continental Divide, which is kind of where I'm supposed to be. But the thunder and lightning is getting much more intense. And I feel like I'm about to get nailed. I'd love to put a tube in and try to keep going, but there's also a flat spot up there that looks pretty good. So I may just hightail it up there. I guess 65 miles isn't bad for the day. It means being out here again tomorrow night. But maybe I can do that other 30, make it to that other campground, resupply with water, and then make a good dent in that next 70. Oh, here comes the rain. Current status, I threw down the emergency shelter because the lightning is just crazy right now. It sounds like it's gonna just explode soon. Haven't set up camp. I'm still in denial about the idea that I'll be here all night. Haven't stopped my GPS. I have, however, brought my wheel, my repair kit. Try to pop that thing open and see what's going on. I don't have any compressed air, so once I open the bead on that tire, I'm kind of committing to going with that tube, which worries me a little. Part of it is those tires I put on in Pinedale are bigger than the tires I was running before, and I don't know if the tube will be big enough to fully inflate that thing. But it's kind of the only option I got, so here we go. The flat tire saga continues. So it is holding air when I pump it up, and it's dropping air as I ride, which means holding, just not holding enough. What I'd really like to do, fully inflate it, put the plug at the bottom of the wheel, so if there's any sealant at all, it'll drip down in there, and just leave it overnight. That means committing to staying here. It also means that if it doesn't work, I'm going to be futzing with this in the morning instead of getting up and riding. I just don't know how 8 ounces of sealant disappear in 2 weeks. Is it a Cushcore thing? I hate this. I just want to go ride. I just want to ride. The last week, between the single track, the broken brake lever, the broken rack, the dead electronics batteries, and now my 4th flat of Tour Divide. It's like the closer I get, the more crap goes wrong. Well, maybe things are looking up a little. That's west and things seem to be clearing up. My plug isn't quite holding air, but when I play with it, I hear wet sounds, which would mean that there's sealant in there. So I'm kind of inflating it and fiddling with it, inflating with it and fiddling with it. Hopefully that means I'll get it to hold, which would be amazing. Even if it's slow leak at first, if there's sealant in there, it'll eventually clog that thing up. I'm not quite ready to break down tent and get rolling again, but it looks like it's a possibility where maybe 20 minutes ago it wasn't, so fingers crossed. Oh, latest update. So I've now lost about 2 hours to dealing with this tire. The clouds are coming back in from the west. I've lost my little sunny day. On the other hand, the tire plug seems to be holding. I've taken it for a little test ride. Not well, but if there's actually sealant there, it'll get better and better as I ride it. I'm kind of in a great camp spot here, literally on the Continental Divide. The ground tilts that way to one side to one ocean, ground tilts that way to the other. I'm right in the middle. That thunder and lightning is coming from the west, where the weather's coming from. So I was just breaking camp. I figured if I could get another 2 hours in, that could be another 20 miles, and that could be the difference between getting to Silver City tomorrow night or having to camp out again tomorrow night. I'm going to push on. Alright, situation update. The plug seems to be holding. Not well. I've had to pull over and inflate it a little bit, but I'm rolling forward, which is a huge relief. The weather has held off so far. There's a lot of lightning and thunder in my background, but that seems to be that way, and I'm heading this way. I don't think it's realistic that I'm going to make it the full 95 miles today to that campground, My thought is every mile I make today is one fewer mile I have to do to get to Silver City tomorrow. So I'm just gonna go as far as I can. I'm going to hope that that campsite has water. It's listed on the map as having food, and that would imply water. If not, I've got, I don't know, maybe 5 liters, which isn't enough for all day tomorrow, but it's definitely enough for me to get to that site tomorrow. I've made it to mile 84. John and Misha are up at the camp ahead. They actually have a cabin with a room with my name on it, but it's another 16 miles, which is at least another hour. Meantime, darkness is setting in. I think I'm probably going to try to dump a tent right there. Call it a night. Well, this is definitely not the poshest setup. I mean, this whole ground here is filled with critter burrows, so I'll be interested to find out what I'm camping on top of during the night. Another day in the books. I'm going to go make some dinner. I got some tortillas and I got some pepperoni, some cheese, some tuna. I'm not gonna put all those together, but make some combination and some wraps. No water, so no backpacker pad thai or anything tonight. Signing off.